Okay, for P5-17, we're going to use the default drawing template. So let's just go in through the drawing. So keep in mind that you can always navigate to the sheet format. Even if you've created your own templates, those will show up as long as you've added them to the file locations under the options. And one of the things that we'll detail is the reason that I say optionally, if you've created your own template and you want to use it moving forward, that's fine. If you haven't, then we're going to go through the process with this template, define a stopping point, and then go back and make the modification to another template. So if I browse, and hopefully this will, nope. Now I'm going to the assignment 5, and I want to bring in the assembly, so the slider assembly. We'll hit OK. And let's see, an isometric view. That looks good. So we'll go ahead and just accept that, and then I'm going to highlight, Control C and Control V a little bit further away. I think my bill of materials I'll put over here. I kind of think in terms of the standard, the revision table, the bill of materials will either be on this side or docked to the title block, but whichever way you want to manage. And again, if you haven't created the explode, go back to the assembly, and you can do the exploded view in the assembly. So size-wise, it doesn't look too bad. We're at 1 to 5. Let's see if we have something a little bit better. We're in inch, pounds, and seconds for our view. Half size, a little bit too big. So maybe we'll go to user defined, and I'll do something like 1/3, 1:3. And that's still not going to be very well. So 1 to 5 was a little bit small. 1 to 3 still a little bit too big. 1 to 4 looks pretty good. So quarter scale, move that over a little bit. And then right-clicking, easiest way to get to the tables. And we'll go to the bill of materials. I have not created a custom bill of materials. Usually I drop out the description. Depends on how we went back and defined those properties as to what we'll end up actually using. All right, so in this case, I've got all of the part numbers. That really is the part name. If we add the part numbers as we go, then we can utilize those. So if I double click, and we will go to name. I can always add it back in later or give it another name. Well, let's just go ahead and make it the part number. And we'll keep it with the, well, I guess the standard format there. And if I find the double arrows, I can resize. So I'd need to pick the largest. Since we're going to be about 6 or 7 characters on our part number, then that ought to look pretty good. And I need to grab the arrow, and we'll place, that could go a little bit more in the corner, or not. So close enough. I think it anchored, or it trying to align to that point. So if I really wanted to bring it over, we'll do something like that and bring it over to the edge of the title block. All right, so for our balloon callouts, let's see what it's going to look like for the annotation to auto balloon. That actually looks pretty good. So we've got a magnetic line, a single, and a single. And I'm okay with that. That looks pretty good. Points out the major components and gives us a pretty good idea. So in this template, we have the part name, the assembly name, and we're ready to go through and add the next sheets. So for the first pass, what I'm typically going to do is look at this assembly and say, okay, the base is the first piece that I'm going to pick up, and then I'm going to start adding pieces to it. And then I'll kind of decide if I want to group similar items or similar pieces. So let's use the view palette. Well, since we started off with the drawing model view, since it was checked to start, it's going to come up first. If we want to go back in and go that way, then we'll browse. We'll find the base, put it in place, and let's just go ahead and create the multiple views. If I do not create multiple views, it's kind of like when we're in the view palette, and I'm going to end up doing projected views instead. So we get the 3 views. Not too worried about scale right now. I'm just making that see what I'm going to use and need. So from this standpoint, if we go that way and that side view, so I'm kind of thinking in terms of the dimensions. If I were to change that view to the top view, then I'm not sure that I need that view, so I can go ahead and delete it. And then as far as rotating and changing those views, I want to try and get this pretty much set before I add dimensions. Scaling is going to do can do some weird things to the position of the dimensions, but you're not going to end up losing dimensions. And that looks pretty good. And then we'll come over to the view scale and the custom scale for that. Just go back to 1 to 5. All right, and then if we wanted to put a note, view scale 1 to 5, and then the drawing scale is going to show up down here anyway. So looks pretty good. Next. All right, so the just a quick note, the main difference between single sheets. So if this was my assembly, I would save this as the slider assembly sheet, and then open up another document, bring in the base, save this as a sheet, bring in, open up a new document, save whatever the next piece is going to be as a sheet, and instead of having one document with however many 10 sheets in it, I'm going to have 10 individual files with 1 sheet each. Either way, and however it's best to manage. All right, so we did the beginning view, the model view. Let's go with the view palette, and nothing got picked there. So the next, and I think this is where the naming kind of got lost. So I'm gonna hold off on worrying about that for now. And we'll go top view into the projected view and the isometric view. And then I can hit the right mouse button to OK, or in the upper right, go to the OK. So this probably needs to be a 1-to-1, and the isometric looks pretty good, so we'll put it up in the corner. Not too worried about the center marks and center lines. If I happen to catch them, now is as good a time as any. Oh, except this doesn't have the layers. So if you wanted to create layers for this document, and another reason for the template is so that you don't have to create the layers each time, but we would go into the layer, dims, center, pretty much our standard. All right, and then because the first view is the parent view, it's going to drag the right side view, and we'll be able to move left to right, but not up and down because of the alignment. Okay, and then let's see the Explorer. Because the assembly is open, we're going to see those grayed out. We wouldn't be bringing in the drawings, so bypass it. We already have that one. We could bring in the, let's see, what would we go? Maybe the driver wheel would be the next. Okay, so it jumps back into the model view. And if I go to the top, let's go ahead and, oh, I guess it would help to place it. There we go. What are you asking for? And then we slip into projected view and do the side view and an isometric view. So that looks pretty good. Again, size-wise, probably will go half, maybe even down to the 1/5 on the isometric view. Oh, that was the entire sheet. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. We were kind of crowding it there a little bit, but let's see what the difference would be if we went to the custom scale for the view and went to half. All right, so not too bad. Next sheet, and then we'll have the pin. So I'm just going to kind of keep going through the file. It's sort of a toss-up. Pin driver, and create the multiple views. We'll place it. So actually, I'll drag one off to the side and one up to the top. And if I'm not, since I kind of want that to be a top view, then I can go that way. And again, this might be a 2-to-1 since it's a little on the small side. We'd probably go back and revisit the other pin as well. And then we'd have to decide if there's any advantage to showing the bottom, or can we get the dimensions. So if I needed one more view, let's just say that we'll do the lengths and then this bottom diameter. I'll highlight that view, go into the drawing, pick the projected, and drop in another, and we have it set to automatically add the center lines. All right, next sheet. We need, why don't we go with the arm as the connecting piece. And that looks a little bit long, so this one would be probably a pretty good projected view. Top view, and let's just go ahead and place it. So I think I will leave this one just a little bit long, and for its projected view, just to see what it looks like, we'll drag up. Oh, and then need one more projected view for the isometric, and we need to get out far enough that it will see it as an isometric. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and accept, and then this, instead of the 2-to-1, actually will be pretty close if we change it to 1-to-1. Well, it'll still be a good example for a break. And then custom scale to 1/2 looks pretty good. Another sheet, and somewhere I'm going to have to remember to save this. So we've been doing the File Explorer for the last couple. If I want to do the view palette, then we'll do the ... And we had the pin. So that one's probably a purchase part, so I wouldn't usually create a drawing for a purchase part unless we're manufacturing this one specifically, but we'll run through it. So drop the front view, or the first view, and then we'll create the duplicates, come down to the scale, 2-to-1. That all looks pretty good. And we can adjust these later if we find out that they're not working. So back into the view palette, browse, we'll grab the rod, probably stay with the same right view, and then the length, and an isometric. And we'll get out of that by hitting the check. So it kind of hung on to the 2-to-1 on me, so we'll not really a default view so much as was one that I picked. So 1/2. All right, so another case where a break might be nice. And then the sheet for the view palette. We had the rod. Let's go ahead with the slider. So this one ended up more alphabetical order. And if I decided I wanted to change the order, we'll go through that on our second pass. So maybe the right side view, and then is that gonna give me any additional information? No, but one of the things that we'll look at is if I were to rotate this. So highlighting the view, coming up to the rotate, and telling it to go 90 degrees. And it's warning me about the dimensions, so yes. And actually did not want to go that way, so let's see if it, from that position, it's either 180. Oh, 1800 was a little bit too much. So that puts it back to there. So let's see what 270 looks like. All right, and that was what I was working towards, was to be able to see that top hole and the position for its location. All right, and then the last one will be the support. And well, just keep in mind that you can insert from drawing view and have everything that's in the command manager tabs. We could also go into Windows Explorer and drag and drop, or with let's do that as the last example, some sub-assemblies. It's sometimes nice to be able to do the tile horizontally, except I don't see that my assembly is open, so nope, just the other part. So I would need the other file open, and then I could drag from one window into the other window, into this drawing window, to create the views. So we'll find an example of that later. And last one will be the support. And so its front view looks pretty good. Going to need a bottom view for those whole locations, so we'll put that one in. If I do the side view, there's no real value there, so we'll go to the isometric, and that looks like it's spaced pretty good. So I think we've got all of our sheets in. So quick count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sheets. All right, so that would be a good first pass.